Hello everyone, welcome back to Edgington, the city on the edge here, in the wonderful Timber and Stone 1.52. So, just like the last episode, you'll note that my face cam is in black and white and has that little no microphone symbol over it, because once again, I am commenting from the future relative to when this was recorded, and that is because I usually film these episodes in, like, 2-episode batches, because that's a full day in-game. And the last time I did so, things went wrong. So here we have Cameron, whom I cannot control because he's not yet a settler, or he's not yet a resident of Edgington, and he is walking straight in, and, oh, bless his socks, he puts up a fight, but, I can't really be blamed for this. Like, we have Penguin literally coming over here to fix this up right now. Yeah. Sorry, Cameron. The most annoying thing is I can't actually interact with his corpse to get him off of my road. So, basically every single person that comes in is just going to see him and just keep walking. Hopefully towards our settlement. But who knows, they might actually just decide to turn around. But yeah, got on a hit. Wasn't anything I could do. Not a thing. Couldn't tell him to move to the side so he could sidestep the skeleton's pathing. Nope, couldn't do a thing. And meanwhile, Papercraftian is just going to town on this training dummy. I don't know exactly how the durability of training dummies is measured, except that Papercraftian goes through a lot of them. Like, they've been training on that since last episode, and they're still going. And this is, like, our third training dummy, so thankfully we've got our engineer just currently, wondering about fixing that every time it goes down. Maybe the engineer should just stay there, I don't know. Yes, they are steadily going up. It's more or less they go up a decent chunk of experience every single punch to the training dummy. We're still working on getting the materials to get them a glaive, but once that's crafted up, they should automatically pick it up and start wailing on the training dummy even harder. But it would be interesting to just send them out on patrol with just, like, their bare fists and see what they can do. Thankfully, there are no bears with which to hit their fists, so that's something, I guess. There might be some kind of mod somewhere, I guess, that could install a bear mob. But I don't know if I necessarily want to interact with it very much. So yes, as you can see, we are currently working to get some copper, to get some bronze, to get a glaive, and then hopefully some boots as well. Because we are finally through with adding all of the food barrels. So we now have a storage area for our 1,200 food. Which is actually still kind of climbing, so wow. And just meanwhile, it's a fairly quiet day. Penguin's just doing the rounds. Penguin, I was teasing this last episode, I can now actually reveal, because it happens very briefly into the night portion of this episode, like right after this episode finishes. Penguin is out, and basically we get some wolves in the night, something in the region of a few wolves. We'll probably see them in a few minutes. And 2 wolves and a spider ran towards Penguin in a sort of triangular formation, and Penguin doesn't move. Just plows the glaive into one wolf, plows it into the spider, plows it into the other wolf, doesn't take a single point of damage. Kind of epic. Way to go, Penguin. And I wish I'd gotten that on camera. I was just not expecting something so cool to happen. But this game can surprise you every now and then. Yes, there we go. So the boulevard is now progressing. We've got most of the... Yeah, the field stone's being crafted first, so we've got most of the storage hole nearly done there, but we still need to get a bit more done. Bit more work, it's just a matter of prioritizing, really. I wish we could have simultaneous, like, requests, but alas, we can't, and now we need a bit more dirt as well, so let's just lay out a bit of that. I am, of course, narrating what my past self is doing, rather than telling you what I'm doing, exactly. But yes, we need some dirt, and it's usually good to do those in slabs when you're near the coastline, because if you don't, then you have to stand in water to get them, and that makes it very messy, which is the case with our little fishing spot there. Now, I did see someone tell me, I believe it was Sawtooth, that they have an idea that the requirements for fishing require shallow water, and that's not improbable, to say the least. they always do seem to go to shallow water to try and fish. They've never fished off the side of the bridge since we completed the moat project. They've always gone to the very edges of land. Now that might just be that that shallow land is only ever like right by the water, but I don't know. I might try booting up some kind of testing world. Just cheat in a bunch of resources and see what happens when everyone goes fisherman, just to try and create some ideas. But I really don't know, honestly. If I can make some kind of place for people to fish without having to go near the mainland, that'd be great. But if it is indeed a requirement that they have shallow water, then that actually creates a vulnerability point for the settlement, because things can swim to that area and get on board. And that is definitely something we don't want. Because that's the whole point of building out in the ocean, pretty much. Not sure what I'm waving my hands at in the course of that. But yes, things are progressing. Penguin is wandering. Paper is leveling. Bumble is mining. Clover is fishing. Yeah, there we are. It'll be interesting to see who ends up just sort of on constant fisherman duty, honestly. Because it seems like fisherman is basically like the top strat of food development, as long as you have enough people filling the other roles of a settlement, which I admit might not be very early on. You can pretty much just set everybody to fishermen, and then fishing poles seem to have ridiculous durability. I've only seen them break once to date, and that might actually be this episode, honestly. And honestly, you get a ton of food really quickly. Just stick a food barrel next to them; you'll never have to leave, more or less. Maybe some kind of ice fishing hut is in our futures here in Edgington. Of course, I am fairly resolutely against the long-standing strategy of immuring your workers. So, putting a stonemason's table and like a supply resource crate, that kind of thing, inside of just a room and building the walls around the stonemason. You can do that. And I think is the spider that attacks Penguin later tonight. But I don't really necessarily recommend it. I mean, for one thing, the moment anyone breaks a hole through the wall, which various mobs can, your unit has nowhere to go. Except the place that now has a monster in it, which is probably a matriarch on my look. But, you know, necromancers can also break it down. I suppose in theory you could try digging it into the floor like a bunker, but natural blocks break very easily in this game, so it's not really necessarily not exactly wise, I guess is the phrase. What else is going on whilst I just jabber on? I know I'm talking about something important, but heck if I know what. I need to learn to lip my hand. I nearly said I need to learn to lip my own reads there. I need to learn to read my own lips. So I might have some clue. And I'm pretty sure I talked about everything I talked about in the last 2 episodes, including this one, in my overdub commentary for the preceding episode. So I'm not actually sure what I have left to discuss here, but nonetheless I'm going to keep you guys company. So, it is currently 20 past midnight. It is a balmy 23 degrees here in my office, and there is still a heat wave going on here in England. And this looks like Papercraftian picking up their new toy. Yep, there we go. Lovely. Not quite sure where they're wandering off to next, but they are now fully capable of actually patrolling. Hurrah, hurrah. So we can now have 2 people actually patrolling the roads to keep them safe at night. Paper is still not necessarily like the best of people. Paper is approaching halfway the level of Penguin. Penguin is about mid-teens, I believe, which makes them pretty competent, as it turns out. But, you know, learn from experience, learn on the job training and all that. But yeah, my office is in the middle of the English heatwave right now, and it is very hot in here. It gets very hot very quickly with the door closed, which the door has to be closed because of, well, sound issues. Sound issues are about the main reason I'm sweltering here, because I can't really pick up an AC or a fan, because firstly, lots of money, secondly, lots of noise. Like, if you think the occasional bit of my computer sound is irritating, imagine hearing a full-blown fan pointed at my face. Be heaven, but be noise. Eeh. Okay, so yes, we got a ton of trees just sitting up there. We've got some beds. I'm just checking the ownership of the beds to make sure that there's, like... Because ideally you don't want the infantry all the way away from the front door. Because infantry are melee, so you want them to be able to get to the front area, to the front lines, as it were, very quickly. So it's generally better for them to be bedding down near the mainland, in this case. The downside meaning, they have to be on the mainland, which is where all the monsters turn up. But that's also where you need to have them to fight. Now, archers, on the other hand, they don't need to be on the front lines to shoot at the front lines. They have to be usually with just a line of sight, which is why we can afford to have our archers on the actual floating island. But the infantry, unless they're manning the ballistae, not necessarily the best of ideas. So, we are sort of exiling our infantry right now, but we're doing it with a good cause. We're doing it for very, very good reason. And, ooh, Penguin, looking good. And you've gotten all your armor. You're presumably going to sleep again, are you? Unless you want to do some more patrolling. Just to train a little bit, so you can fall back asleep. And our food is still ticking up, believe it or not. Jeez. And yeah, that, I'm indicating now, that is why we need to grab a bit more dirt. It's mostly so that we can finish off the farms that we're trying to expand over there, so that there's less demand for fishing. It's also because it goes into making bricks, which is a slight concern, because it means you can actually remove all of the dirt from your world and turn it into bricks, and then you can't make farms, and also when the bricks go, you can't even uncraft them. So you've got this situation where dirt is actually a finite, if presently plentiful resource. So, a little bit to be concerned about there. And nope, who's this coming in down the roads? I think that's either Keop or it's Penguin. Yeah, it's Keop. Okay. So, level 5 infantry, bronze, iron, and a bronze glaive. Looking pretty good. Charismatic, but apparently quite lazy. I hope that's not a mark on the actual Keop. And then Penguin, who is a quick learner, which has served us well many a time. If memory serves, our old miner was actually, Rickman Goddard was actually a quick learner, I seem to recall. But my memory's terrible, so who knows. I just had to try and remember 3 different names to think of who our miner was, jeez. But I'm sure nothing bad will happen to Bumble, surely. I'm sure they're fine. They've got 2 different guards on their front doorstep now, which actually reminds me we probably need to have somebody actually guarding that, come to think of it, because, well, our patrols are helpful, but they're not necessarily tight-knit. So, if we get a 3rd infantry, probably good to stake them at that entryway. So they're constantly guarding the area directly in front of the camp instead of... Oh, yeah, there's the wolves. There's the wolves turning up. Yeah, we need somebody to actually be guarding that area, that outpost 24/7, or at least as close to it as we can. I guess maybe four infantry would be nice. Just to make sure there's always one. But, yeah. There's the wolves, because we evidently are back in the swing of not getting a day off when it comes to monster hunting. But, not to matter, most of them are relatively spread out, so we should be able to hit them down quite happily, or at least Penguin should be able to. And it's far more likely, with the exception of our wandering patrols now, that they will head towards Edgington purely to take on our livestock, which I still need to move, and that's another advantage of getting the farms expanded more. So it's more or less a matter of waiting, because eventually they'll pick up the scent of our chickens, and they'll come over to try and bash down the bacon gate to actually get into Edgington, and at that point we can shoot them full of arrows and stab them with glaives, with relative impunity. And is Penguin actually going to come across this wolf up here? I don't think so. Yeah, he's a ways off. How ironic it is that I went through all the trouble of rebinding my keys so that you would have less peripheral noise, and then my webcam decides it's just going to record the game audio again. So you in fact get no noise whatsoever from my peripherals. It's just my luck, I guess. I have to say, I'm kind of enjoying this. I'm just sat here watching a video game and just talking about stuff. And I guess that's one of the main reasons I play Timber and Stone, honestly. It's just I'm usually a bit more involved. Saying that, I did hear from Kieran Dave, recently, Dave Farah, Goat Guy, recently that there was an update in Dwarf Fortress to vampires, which is sort of what we tried to play originally with our little Dwarf Fortress playthrough, and it'd be interesting to try and play that again. I do have Nemoria sitting on my Steam list that I've got like 2 videos I did whilst I was offline, but I don't know. Nemoria is kind of unstable. Honestly, I still have a lot of trouble reading what's going on in Dwarf Fortress. I'd have to get like some kind of visualizer for that, I guess. But yeah, there's plenty of those. I mean, at its base level, Towns is basically Dwarf Fortress. And again, at its base level, Dwarf Fortress is its own little genre that's just so spread. Hope. And the sun is going down. And the lights are going up. So people can start thinking about going to sleep. And Penguin marches ever onwards towards their really awesome moment in the night that I didn't get on camera. Sorry about that. Tell you what he's doing, my friend, and I was talking for like 22 minutes. Near constantly. So it sounds like I'm actually paying attention to my own stuff and whatnot, but surprisingly, I actually usually am paying attention to my stuff because I'm usually playing it, is the difference. You'd be surprised what your attention span can become when you actually have something physical to do and think about. But yeah, here's Penguin. Well, there's Papercraftian actually, just wandering towards the horde of wolves. I'm wondering if they'll make it before Penguin comes along to back them up. And 2 reasonably well-armed infantry will take on those wolves no problem. 1 particularly good infantry and a bit of micromanagement will take them on, like, easily. But Penguin is tired. Paper is level 5. So for the moment, they're going to wander back home to the outpost, have some food, have some kit, and hopefully nothing bad will happen. But who knows? Oh, and there's Bumble, wandering along. Is Bumble gonna be getting some food, or... I think Bumble is actually going to sleep. Yeah, looks like it. Bumble's just gonna go to sleep. Okay. Yeah. Zzz. Yeah, and there's Papercraftian just went around. Let's just put you back on training, shall we? Oh, and here come the lights. Oh, I always love seeing that. It's just a nice little, like, aesthetic touch, I guess. Like, it makes it easier for me to see the people who are wandering around at night, but it also gives it this nice kind of glow around them. It just so comes on when the sun is getting low. So it's now dusk, and we are waiting for the precious few more moments before everybody starts going to sleep. Oop, level up. Hooray, level 6 infantry now. Quick learner, gotta love it. You haven't even had to fight anything yet. You've just been stabbing that poor training dummy over and over and over. Oh, hello. Oh yes, we have a new resident, Colette. Not going to stay at that name for very long, but welcome, Colette. Are you going to safely make it to our hall? I think you are. So, no worries there. Just a matter of keeping an eye out for the wolves. Because currently, both of our infantries are indisposed. That's a nice little sheepy there under our light. That one light that Colette has passed has had to be repaired like 3 times. Like, it is such a big target. Bigger target than the one behind it, which is even further inland. I'm not sure why, but you can sort of tell from the scorched earth around it that necromancers have been playing around with those lights a lot, and as well as goblin archers who set them on fire. Ugh. But anyways, what do we set you to collect? Give it a moment. There we go. So, you're a miner. I think we set you to builder, come to think of it. Not terribly sure I remember. Also, a quick learner. The trouble with quick learner is it's great in the interim, but once you hit level 20, it's a dead value. It doesn't contribute to anything. Whereas things like keen eye or strong back actually like have persistent effects. They just don't help you level up very quickly. So yeah, it's something to worry about. So we are renaming Colette, who is currently our new builder, or our second builder, as... Give me a moment while I look through my lists. Samara. Welcome, Samara. I get deja vu thinking about this. I'm sure I've had a Samara before, but it's on my list, so I presume you're still running and you're still on the rankings. So yay, welcome, Samara. Just as night sets and you can start to think about going to bed, because we don't really have much to do right now. We do have like 2 different stonemasons working on materials, but they still can't really quite pump them out at the same rate that our builders are using them up, and we are pretty much, as the outro music begins to play, we will be just waiting on Penguin to keep the night clear for us. So, with that in mind, I hope you've enjoyed this second episode, which was me describing my past self's actions. It's been me lying in bed, it's been me from the past as well, and this has been Edgington. Catch you all next time.